crime. What's the crime? Someone's head has been smashed in between a door. Kind of gruesome, isn't it? So they've just put you into an interrogation room, and now they're going to try to investigate and figure out who's the killer. Now, who are you in this? You're the killer. You're the person who killed this poor man by closing a door on his head. Now, they're going to be asking you a series of questions, and you have to do whatever you can to not get caught. So what's your first instinct? You're going to definitely want to lie. And then the show will end off, and they'll be like, I guess it was a closed case. All right. So a lot of times, whenever people ask you a question, you are given two responses in how you can answer. You can either tell them the truth, or you can lie to them. And let's be honest here. Almost everyone in this room has lied at least once in their lives. See, I know. But anyways, a lot of people tend to lie about very small things. It's probably not as serious as an investigation, but it can be as small as telling somebody, I'm busy over text, when you're not. As for me, I wanted to figure out what I could do to learn about how somebody was lying because, well, I'm gullible. Even a joke will pass by my head. Like, if you try to tell me something, I'll probably wonder about it for like the next couple of hours and be like, was that a joke, or were they telling me the truth? By understanding what lying is, you'll have a better understanding of the people around you as well as their reactions to things. That way you won't have as many miscommunication between people. And in my speech, I'm going to be first talking about the science of lying, then the scenarios, and then the science. So what is lying? So according to Merriam-Webster, lying is making an untrue statement with the intent to deceive and creating a false or misleading impression. So normally, lying is basically trying to figure out what's false. And whenever you're doing this, you're trying to, basically, you probably wouldn't know if someone was lying to you. Let's be honest here. You wouldn't be able to tell if you didn't know the science. Now, Shirley Wang said in an article in 2010 in the Wall Street Journal that there are 3 signs to lying. 3 ways people lie. It is caused by people wanting to get out of trouble or personal gain, or finally, to make ourselves look better in the eyes of others. And let's be honest here, we've probably lied about our grades before in front of our friends. But either way, going on. Science says that lying has a lot to do with your brain. In terms of this chart, you can see that different parts of your brain relates to different actions. Your temporal lobe relates to hearing and facial recognition, your occipital, your vision. So where does lying affect? Lying affects the frontal lobe, the front right here that's all in red. Now that's the front here. Now in terms of lying, it causes more blood to rush to your brain because you're basically really nervous. And because of that, it causes more neural activity. Now neural activity in the frontal lobe causes, what is it? It is called executive function. Now according to the National Center of Learning Disabilities, the executive function is basically when you connect your past activities with your current activities. That's why lying is caused by that. However, this can only be seen in adults. It hasn't been seen in children. For children, it's related more to your emotion. That's why it's harder to detect. Now, there are many instances where lying can be seen. Now, these are scenarios. So, here we have a Barney and a telephone. So, how are they related? In terms of Barney, back to the article by Shirley Wang in 2010 in the Wall Street Journal, the scientists conducted an experiment with children. Now, what this experiment was that they placed the doll behind the they placed Barney behind the child, and basically they told him not to peek at it. However, of course, children being children, they looked. And what they did was the scientists would leave the room, and then of course the child would peek at it, and of course about 70% looked. When they came back, they asked him, "Oh, did you look at it?" And the child would say, "No, I didn't look at it. What are you talking about?" So this relates to your verbal cues. So what happened was the kid looked at it, and the scientists asked them, and they said no. And then in the end, the scientists asked them to touch the doll. When they touched it, the scientists asked them, "Oh, what did it feel like?" And the child replied, "It felt purple." So it must be Barney. So of course that gave them away. When you're younger, you don't really understand that when you have something like this, you don't tell them what color it was. You tell them other things. Now, in terms of the iPhone, let's be honest here. Who has an iPhone here? Or any type of phone in general? Almost 82% of our entire population owns a phone. And in terms of those 18%, 13% of them fake a call to avoid talking to people. So whenever they don't want to talk to people, they pick up their phone instead and they walk around like, hey, how are you doing? And no one's there at the other end of it. Now, how does this relate to your visual and verbal cues? Now, in terms of lying overall, this relates to your personal benefit. In terms of the Barney, you want to get out of trouble. That's why you lie. In terms of your telephone, you don't want to talk to other people. That's your personal gain. But how does that relate to how you see things? Now, we have two types of cues. You have a visual cue and a verbal cue. Now, your visual cues include blinking more, face touching, rubbing the back of the neck, hair stroking, and micro-expressions. Now, there are times where people say that one of the visual cues you can see is how somebody looks away. Like if let's say like, oh, you asked me, how was your day? And I was like, so contrary to belief, you can't tell if someone's lying by their eyesight. However, a lot of scientists do say that you can tell by micro-expressions. Micro-expressions being smiling or something along the lines of that. Now, in terms of visual cues, you have short responses, less use of eyes, too detailed memory, too detailed, too vague, or slips of the tongue. It can usually be seen by this because you don't want to include yourself when you're lying. Now, in closing, people tend to lie because it's for personal gain. But in all, if you understand why people lie, you have less misunderstandings with people. Now, I talked about the science as well as scenarios where you can see it, and then also I talked about the sides of it. Yeah. Now you know what to do if you're ever put into a CSI TV show. You know how to get away from